For University of Illinois Extension, I'm Todd Gleason. If corn farmers want a break-even price for their crop next year, they'll need to plant fewer acres of it. I'll have more on how one ag economist has forward-figured the number of corn acres needed in 2015 to push cash prices back above $4 a bushel. Well, the calculations are complicated and continually evolving, but possible to do. One way to approach the question of how many corn acres are needed in 2015 is to determine the combination of production, consumption, and year-ending stocks that would result in a 2015-16 marketing year average farm price closer to the cost of production. That's estimated to be in the low $4 range, assuming trend yields, in much of the Corn Belt, and requires a stocks-to-use ratio, a combination of all the factors just listed, of about 12%, says University of Illinois ag economist Darrell Good.
If we look forward to say, okay, how much old crop corn are we going to start with next year? What's our consumption base going to be next year? And assuming it's the same as this year, and we want to get our stocks down to about 1.6 billion bushels, how many acres of corn would we need to plant? Well, first of all, you have to say, well, what are we going to yield next year? And just start with the idea that we have a trend yield, 162.5 bushels, that we need to plant about 7.8 million acres more than we harvest. We need to harvest about 80.5 million acres of corn next year, plant something over 88 million, which would be about 2.6 million less than we planted this year.
Again, in order to get to a 12% stocks-to-use ratio, and more importantly, a cash price for corn somewhere just north of $4, U.S. farmers would need to plant about 88 million acres. This is certainly possible. The number is roughly what U.S. farmers planted to corn in 2010. However, the dilemma is that reducing the number of corn acres usually means those acres are planted to either wheat or soybeans, and there isn't any real call for more bushels of those crops.
You know, I think that's the dilemma right now. We do know that total cropland acreage, the USDA's official estimates do vary somewhat, but just saying that if we're looking at a fixed pie in terms of total crop acres, if we reduce corn 2.6 million, where is that going to go? Right now, the prices favor a little more wheat, a little more soybeans in favor of corn, and then the question is, do we really need more acres of those two crops? And again, starting with the assumption of trend yield next year, you would say we probably really do not need any more acres of those two crops either.
U.S. wheat stocks are expected to increase during the current marketing year, and a trend yield in 2015 would result in a larger crop than produced this year, with no increase in acreage. A trend soybean yield in 2015 would result in a smaller crop than produced this year, but production would still exceed the projection of use during the current marketing year. It may be, thanks Darrell Good, that low prices will result in some decline in total crop acres in 2015. For University of Illinois Extension, I'm Todd Gleason.